it swung open about 2 feet, and he was going to start to push it, and he started running back to the truck, and I went, dude, what's up? Did you see a snake? And he was like, yeah. And I went, no, dude, I don't believe him. I'm like, he didn't see no snake. I look out there, dude, that rattlesnake was coiled up. It feels like it's been an eternity since I've recorded a pod over here, because it has. It's been like 11 days since I recorded one.
And when you're used to doing them every day or a couple of days,
yeah,
you can.
Yep. I love it. I feel a little rusty. Not really. I need a much needed little spring break, if you will, to cleanse everything. Had a good time with my main man, Riley, last week, going back to my God's country, Toledo Bend.
Oh, those pictures, it looked amazing.
He smoked them, dude. He smoked some bass. Not on Toledo Bend, but we only got to do the wind so bad. It's been windy all over the South, everywhere. Yep. Yeah, it's the spring. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what happens this time of year.
Just until just a few days ago.
Right. and of course, weather looked decent last week, so I'm like, let's trek up there on Wednesday. We'll fish Wednesday, Thursday, Friday being Good Friday. All the good folks are coming into the lake and all that. So probably going to skip the lake on Friday. We got to go out on Wednesday evening. My dad has a pontoon boat, so we got to ride around on the lake a little bit, and I let him drive. Daddy let him drive. Nice. And that was fun. He's driven before, but not just like I'm sitting over here in the seat and he's steering it. He loved it. Did a great job. And he caught a bass. Caught a little bass that evening. It's tough to fish out of a pontoon boat when you don't have a trolling motor to keep your position.
Yeah,
and the wind was still blowing 20 miles an hour when we went out that day. But, dude, It just picked up as it went on, and then it blew us off the lake. We couldn't go on the lake, but we went pond hopping. Oh, there ain't nothing better than going pond hopping. I know you've done it growing up in Alabama. You got to go to Mama Millie's pond and Aunt Carolyn's place, and you go make the runs. And
you got to ask Mr. Thompson, and then there's a secret pond. You got to go get so-and-so to go with you because they're the only one that they'll let go and take people. Oh, that was the best. Pond fishing, wearing them out. Oh, yeah.
Just wear them out, man. And my brother-in-law took us to a pond not far from where he lives, not far from the pond that was, I call it my papaw's pond. It's on our land. It's a little small. I'd say it's probably like a quarter acre, if that, maybe an eighth of an acre pond. It's small, but you can always catch some big bass out of it. You can catch some fish out of it. It's always just productive because it's fed by a natural spring. So I told my brother-in-law, I was like, we're going to hit Papaw's pond tomorrow. And I'm trying to think of somewhere else we can go. And he said, well, we always go over to this pond and it's not far. And I was like, I don't know exactly where that is, but if you're willing to take us, we will go. So we went. That's when Riley caught that 5.5 pound bass. That was my brother-in-law that pulled it out. You can go to Tigs Bits podcast on socials and see all that. I had to brag and post it. I was so proud of him.
To. Yes. Yeah. That's a big fish. I mean, a lot of people fish their whole life and never catch a 5 pound bass.
You know? Exactly. I couldn't believe it. And we caught probably in that pond over the course of 2 days, we caught about 20 bass. And the second biggest bass to that was maybe 1.5 pounds. Maybe. Wow. So just a total freak big bass. But dude, there was so many, you couldn't fish around that pond. You could only fish from the dam. We could fish maybe 10% of the water that was there. This pond's probably an acre and a half. It was pretty big.
Too grown up, too snaky.
Very snaky. Saw some water moccasins on top of the water, you're looking down everywhere you're going. Riley got an introduction to the good old rattlesnake.
Oh, did he?
This deal. Yes, he did. So we go back, and I said, you saw Uncle Billy open that gate? And I said, it looks easy. Yeah. It was just real easy gate, just held by a little chain and nothing to it. He opened it swung open about 2 feet, and he was going to start to push it, and he started running back to the truck, and I went, dude, what's up? Did you see a snake? And he's like, yeah. And I went, no, dude, I don't believe him. I'm like, he didn't see no snake. I look out there, dude, that rattlesnake was coiled up. It was obvious from the road where I was at. That was a rattlesnake. And I said, dude, get in the truck. Well, at this point, we got to close the damn gate. Right. Because there's cattle.
So where was it in relation? Right. Where was it in relation to the gate? Was it in the line where the gate needed to close?
Right in the middle, under the gate. Like, he didn't see it, maybe a foot back from the gate. So it was going to be, when it swung open, it would have been dead in the middle, exactly where he would have stepped, to push the gate to kind of just swing it on open.
Right.
He almost stepped on.
So the gate didn't go over the snake yet. The snake was still on the other side of the gate.
The snake, or the gate actually barely went over the snake. So
then the gate's over and he's on your side of the gate.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. And Riley was about to take a step to open the gate and going to step right on that snake. Yeah, dude.
Wowzers.
Very, very close call. That he didn't. That one. I didn't have the window down. I didn't. He just saw it, and then I went, well, crap. We got to close this gate because there's cattle. They weren't out there right then, but I don't know when they're going to come on that side. We got to close the gate, and we're not going to let a damn rattlesnake ruin our fishing trip or make us not go. But I didn't have a gun on me.
Yeah,
I could have gone to my brother-in-law's. Yeah.
You just got to go primal at that point. It's literally like old school. Throw sticks and rocks at it. Get away.
You know what I threw at it?
What?
My damn truck.
You just rode over?
Oh, yeah. I just backed up because I'm on a road, and I had to watch for cars, but it's a country road. There ain't nobody coming hardly. So I had to back up, and then I charged the gate and went up to it. Riley could look out, and I said, have I run over it yet? I didn't want to hit the gate. I think I could have just opened the gate, but I didn't want to damage the gate or scratch my truck, honestly.
Again,
but I was just going to run over it. He said, "Nah, Dad, he's just still standing there, just head raised, ready to strike." And I went, all right, well, I'm going to have to hit the damn gate. So I backed up, and when I did, he put his head down and slithered off into the mulberry bushes or whatever the hell's out there.
Thought your truck was a big, aggressive bear.
Yeah. But we opened and closed that gate about 6 more times over the course of the next couple of days. Paranoid. High alert. Dude. Yeah. Everything, looking down, everything.
That serpentard was tick, 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 tick. Yeah, everything is a snake. Every stick, every movement. Oh, yeah.
Dude, just unreal. Anyhow, didn't mean to go on that long about.
No, I get it, and
snakes,
and if we were doing a weird out there episode today, that's a thing. It's like the boogeyman. Snakes have obviously been an issue with us for a long time. They're on all the hieroglyphs. They're in everything. The serpent, the that. They're on everything. We are still jumpy as shit over snakes. More than anything, like. Nobody likes rats and roaches, but buddy, them snakes get you. It's a thing in the way so it's just wild how, to the end of time. And then obviously since the beginning of time, we have had this wild relationships with snakes.
Snakes. Yeah. I mean, well, it all started in the Bible. Whenever,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Since day one. And then from then on out, it has always been a constant was the snake thing. Like, and still now I bet if someone had never seen one, never heard about it, didn't even know what it was, and saw one, they would jump because it's a natural instinct. You know what I mean?
For sure. I think it's just ingrained in everyone's DNA. It's almost kind of like, look, you never want to question God, and I never would. But one of my questions is going to be like, what's up with snakes, though, man? Why? Well, and I know the explanation is going to be the eating of rats, and it's pest control. It's a lot more than you think. Yeah, but dang, we'll make them very afraid of us and maybe not poison us to humans.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's it. My wife and I were talking about that the other day. It's like, if there's some things we just don't need, she was like, mosquitoes. I'm like, yeah, but a lot of birds eat mosquitoes. I know but they dang sure do give a lot of diseases, and they are just a hindrance. They are a pest, is full blown. And she said, well, what about like wasp, man? That eats wasps. Wasps are mean. Nobody needs wasps. I was like, well, maybe so. And then but you think about certain things, everything has its relation full circle to make everything work properly, so it's just a cog in the wheel. and the type of predator it is. We're evolved to do a lot of things, but boy, quick striking snakes we're still not very good at that yet. You know what I mean? We can hide, jump, run, and throw. And even even trying to shoot one of those with a gun, if you don't have something with some spread on it, I've tried to shoot one with a pistol before. They are tough. Even at close range.
My brother-in-law's, I got a pistol. You want it? I'm like, I want a 12-gauge shotgun if I'm going to go shoot a snake. Yeah, I've shot one with a pistol too. You got to dang near hit it in the head. You just piss it off. It's coming at you.
Exactly. No. Yeah, I shot at a water moccasin on a levee like that at a pond in Mississippi, and same thing. I wasn't deathly afraid, but he was aggressive, and it was not a great spot. It was somewhere, it was rough terrain. I could have slipped, fell, but I was like, I'm just going to get a couple feet back, and I had several shells before I got him.
Yeah.
So you need something with some spray, a 410, something, But anyway, yeah, it's just wild to think that snakes always, and then you and Riley have to have that ordeal, and then probably not another snake in the area after all that commotion, but you're still on high alert the entire trip.
High alert. But I tell you what, catching fish sure is the best medicine for a kid that just saw a snake, because that's his first, like, oh crap, I almost got bit by a rattlesnake kind of deal, which, I ain't had but a handful of those, and they're reminders. But after that, he caught some fish. We go back and we're eating dinner with my mom and dad and just hanging out, and he's telling them about the fish and all the 3 in a row he caught that evening and just all that. And I said, well, what else happened out there? And he's like, what do you mean? I went, yeah, nothing. Oh yeah. That rattlesnake. What's crazy is my mom had just given me the old lecture like I was 14 years old again. Yeah. Like, you watch out for snakes and be careful out there. And I'm like, I know what I'm doing, Mama. I've grown up in this. I know what I'm doing. And then bam, that happens. Riley almost gets bitten. Have to go to Manny, take him to the ER.
And they would have been like, we told you to watch out for snakes, like there was something you could have done differently.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Not go. That's all that I could have done. But
yeah, right. Not live. Yeah, you can't be so scared of things that you can't live. That's the way I kind of look at it. That's funny. I had a similar incident. I sound like my dear. Hello. A similar incident when I was about Riley's age, maybe a hair younger. Raking up leaves at a friend / neighbor on the lake's house, and I went to take a step and almost stepped in one. And the dad, Mr. Burrell, grabbed my arm, and I stepped back and looked, and right where I was about to step, it was one inside some leaves piled up, coiled up, and then it rattled its tail. I was close though, and I remember that distinctly.
Yep.
Of all the memories I've lost, I've retained that one's core memory there. I remember that.
You don't lose it. You don't lose it. I had something similar at my grandparents' house. They had a little flower bed like around the tree, with bricks around it raised up. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I had like this red, colorful, stuffed snake that I played with. I was probably 4 or 5, something like that. And I just threw it over there, and I went to go grab it. Same dang thing. Oh, they all thought I was lying, and then they went out and they realized, no, he wasn't lying. Same thing. Like, gives me.
Yeah.
These aren't the kind of goosebumps that I like to get. I like to get these whenever I'm listening to a good song and good music, not the heebie-jeebie kind. Give me heebie-jeebies. I don't like snakes either.
No kidding. Yeah.
But anyhow.
No more snake talk. Bye-bye snakes. I'm glad Riley caught some good fish, though. That's great for your morale to want to go do those types of things when you have some success. If you keep getting blanked a few times when you're young, you tend to lose interest. But you get to lip a few. It
changes everything.
Renews and restores that drive to keep doing it. That's awesome, man.
I'm trying to put him in those situations. You can't ever guarantee fishing. That's why it's called fishing and not catching. But I want to try to put him in as many positive situations to have an opportunity to catch. Didn't even mention this. We went and got 50 crickets, which there's probably more like 70, 80 crickets in there. Used them all and caught about 65. We estimate 66 is what we're guessing, but we could have caught 75 or 80 brim. Every single cast brim, cast brim. just fun. So
that's where you get hooked.
I got him hooked on that.
There.
Yeah. He
that's
got hooked on bass, and then he got to experience the rapid catch.
Oh yeah, and where you're just you don't even get to fish. You're just changing bait. You're just changing hooks.
Oh yeah, I just sat on a bucket and just told him to swing the fish to me, and I'd take the fish off, throw it in, bait his hook, throw it back out. He could bait his hook and all, but I'm like, let's get out of here.
Way. Yeah, let's catch a bunch.
Let's go.
Yep.
Let's go through these crickets. I want to see how fast can we catch them. And we caught 13 in 20 minutes when I was counting, and we had already caught God knows how many. That was the last of the crickets. So
wow,
yeah,
that's amazing.
It's silly, just
that's
silly.
Amazing.
Well, what's been going on with you, JR? Enough about me and rattlesnakes and all that fun stuff.
I just enjoyed a nice Easter at home this year. Wasn't on the road for Easter weekend, so my wife's family was in town, so did some things around here. I've had great weather, like you were saying, had a lot of wind and wild weather, but down here, that's finally subsided just here in the last few days and over the Easter weekend, and it was actually pretty nice. Went out on the boat one day, just ate at home. Kind of just family stuff, played a lot of games, played some Pedro, played some Trivial Pursuit, some card games, different stuff.
Yeah.
And enjoyed some time with family, that kind of stuff. Yeah, the week before, I'm trying to think where we were on the road.
Y'all were somewhere.
Yeah. Where were we the week before that? I meant to, it's not that it's
well, I think that's where it got a little, JM got a little heat. For good positive heat, but just some social media heat with his thoughts on our president. Just saying, thank God we got President Trump.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's where y'all were at.
Yeah, we went out to Country Thunder in Arizona, and then we played a show in California. The Arizona show was really cool. We opened for Keith Urban. Sarah Evans was on the bill. Dylan Carmichael.
Oh wow.
Big show, probably 25,000 people there.
Nice.
It was real nice and cool. Big stage, the whole deal. Had a great turnout, great show. The boys killed it. Big long catwalk. It was funny watching the boys try to get down this long catwalk, which is usually we have one, but it's not 150 feet long all the way to front of house like this one was. And I watched them getting back up. I was like, it's a little longer than normal,
What is that catwalk, that ramp that you're talking about?
Yeah, that comes like the thrust that comes out in the very middle of the stage where you can walk out through the crowd.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
So usually it's out, it's a thrust, which, normally a stage is just, it ends. And then if a thrust is like if something comes out and jolts out, and then a catwalk is a more longer walk.
Yeah, I got you.
So this had a thrust and then a catwalk that went way down into the crowd, basically all the way to front of house.
Oh wow!
They want you got to make a trip down there at least once or twice during the show, but you also got to remember our electronics and all. You got to make sure they're
a range.
Yeah, so we got to make sure we got all that prepared for that distance, which we don't. Like I said, we normally don't. We often do have a catwalk of some sorts, but it's not that long. This is a huge festival. It's just exaggerated from our normal show. So that was I watched them getting back, and I saw to keep going, and they're still trying to get back. They're still working their way back. That long walk ain't the boys. But we had a great time, and Keith Urban put on a great show. He's a rocker. They were all super nice. Then the next night went to California and did a show there with Low Cash and Dylan Carmichael at an airplane hangar. It was like an airport, and we did it out on like the runway, but part of the was closed and part was open for the radio station. It was a big deal. It was a couple thousand people there for that too. Great day, beautiful weather outside like Ventura, California, north of LA. And then came home and got the house in order for family, and then Easter, and then been here. And then in between that, obviously, I been doing the JR the Handler Show podcast.
Yeah, dude. Let's talk a little bit about that top 200 music podcast, baby.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that a trip?
You hit the charts.
It's so crazy, so fast. I looked just earlier. It was 127 on the music charts, and
that's amazing.
Only had
congratulations.
Thank you, brother. I only had like an episode and a half come out so far, really, because the intro episode was just me rambling,
kind of testing your equipment and stuff.
Yeah, just to make sure it was going to make it to the platforms and everything was synced up, which we knew it would be, but we just you always got to double check. Got a small team here, team of two, as you know how that works.
I do.
But got it going, and it's just amazing that it jumped like that, and it's been fun. But really, so only those episodes have come out, but this will come out. This show, the Tigs Bits podcast, will come out before several episodes that I've already recorded and are slated to come out on Thursdays.
Awesome. Okay.
So
that's gonna be your official. Hey, that's a good thing, because usually that's whenever I drop a show, a Tigs Bits show, so you can go back to back. You can hit JR, then you can hit Tigs Bits. You can get like.
Is that what normal day our Tigs Bits comes out? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, well, good.
There's no competition in podcast land. If you ever thought you were in a podcast competition, there's a gazillions of podcasts. I'm not in competition against you. You're in a different. It's in a whole different genre. Right. We're in society, culture, and comedy,
right?
Which is just kind of where it's at. Unfortunately, there's a lot of big hitters in all three of those categories.
Yes,
so it's hard. Yes. We ain't broke the top 200 yet.
No, that's why I picked music. That's why I picked music. I figured some of these slackers won't show up for a while. They'll bust in the algorithm and I can pick up some slack.
Brilliant. That's freaking brilliant. Plus that's your wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's mostly and that's the thing. And that's why I don't want to get into too much on some of the episodes that hadn't come out yet. But I will say this. Everybody hang in there. I appreciate the love and support so far. I hope everybody enjoys it. I thought it was a no-brainer to just have to tell these random stories of these people from the road, So I've got a couple of more tour managers and people like that in the can that'll come out. But I don't have a formula yet of a flow of a show. Like, I don't have that dialed in yet. I'm trying some things out here and there. I'm doing some on some episodes. I'm not mentioning this. I don't have the sponsor thing dialed in how I want to yet, so I don't have a flow on that. But I'm just not wanting to wait is the thing. I want to get these out there.
Brilliant. Yes.
Because, it's not perfect at first. And I hate to use the words, it's good enough, but I'm not going to, if I took a month to try to get ready for it, I'd do the same damn thing. I just got to work through it. I just got to kind of work through it as it goes to figure out what works and get a flow, and then I'll get a rhythm down. And I just want to get these stories in and these cataloged and get it, on there and these stories told. And a lot of these people I want to have repeat. I mean, they got so many stories. I mean, 2 hours and I still not even scratched the surface.
Exactly. And then
I want to be able to do. I want to be able to do more of them, but I just don't have time. I'd almost could do a Rogan thing and do one every day, because that's the thing. Some of this stuff I wish could be more time stamped and I could get it out earlier, but for now it's just not going to be able to be that way.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's okay. That's what I've done with our show here is, whenever you're hearing this is going to probably, it's going to be a few days, obviously, after we've recorded it. It'll be probably a week or so after we've recorded it before I drop it on our channels, because I kind of want to start giving myself a little bit of time, a little bit of time to catch up and have some shows in the can myself. Like next week, plan on recording a couple of episodes with some food folks coming on, that I'm going to kick those in the can. So it's going to be good to kind of build that can back up. You got a can, I got a can. Then guess what? We can move cans if we need to. Some of these shows, Dynamite, we're going to put that on Bubba too, and we'll put that on this Bubba exclusive that we're doing. And of course, this is just our regular Tigs Bits podcast too. And we're going to figure out our own little format. We'll figure out kind of how we want to dial this in a little bit, which we've talked about on some of those last couple of shows, but we've taken off and we needed to record a damn show today. So we're just going to do it the way we always do it today. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to mention this. I wanted to read a couple of things, a couple of little things of housekeeping. These are both very much so Bubba Army related. And I'd be remiss if I didn't get these out at the beginning of the show.
Army in the house. I know.
Yes,
that's the other thing too. That's not to hold you up, but that's the other thing too. I want to find a better way to incorporate the Army into the new podcast and get some kind of, I've sent some stuff to Gary Cantrell. Lummy's actually reached out to me about a band they did a review on and sending me some info on them. So I got to figure out a way to better incorporate the Bubba Army. And I've had so much going on. I need to get with you and Seth and want to see about sending my show over there if he thinks that
Yeah.
people would want to have the music show on over there. If so, could get that going. But also, I need to find a way to blend some of their stuff. I definitely want to get like Gary on for the shooting content for that. Anyway, I need to talk to some of them. So, but I feel like since I've already got several episodes, it's gonna be another month before I'll be able to make any changes because I got so much stuff.
You've already got them laid down. Yeah, but that's okay. I mean, that's on the horizon, we can say, and things that we're going to be talking about, which is exciting. I mean, we're in this for the long haul, so y'all bear with us out there, and y'all let us know. You want to hear that music episode? Do you want us to start sending that in to Bubba too? We can alternate weeks. I'm fine with it. Sounds like JR's got plenty in the can, you know.
Or it could be cool. They just drop them at the same time, and we use this as a more current thing. And then we could do more current event type stuff because I do enjoy that, and I think the Army and our podcast listeners and viewers enjoy that when it's kind of social commentary, but kind of in the moment kind of thing. Happened. Like, we did things around the election. That was fun with Chando and all different things around Bubba's world too, and with different big sporting events or, things like that. Because I think that would be fun to still do some lives.
For sure. We're doing those.
Branded under this, or if there's a way we could brand them as both, because I'd like to do the handler stuff live too and talk to you about that as we're doing some lives, and we could field some questions for both maybe or something. There's all kinds of possible opportunities.
I love it. It's our playhouse. It's our wheelhouse of having fun and love having everybody hang with us. We're not really changing. We've been doing it like this the whole time, but you're going to be happy to know, your boy has some notes. And I do have some current event stuff that we will talk about. So because there's some stuff out there we definitely need to hit. I want to get your thoughts on them. But let me give a shout out to a couple folks first. A big shout out to Jay Rachal, Jay from NOLA, as he is known on Bubba Army. Everybody knows Jay. Jay was my guide at BARP, and Jay used to be. Whenever I had the radio show here with Matt English, he was the producer, I guess would be his title, but he would be there on weekends producing the show. I've kind of talked a little bit about that over the time, but he did an amazing thing. He would not want all of this love, but he's getting it. I can't help it because the Baton Rouge Police Department posted something about him. So we got to give a big shout out to him. On April 16th, while sitting at a red light, he spotted flames under a medical transport van, and he did not hesitate. He jumped into action with the driver and a bystander, helping 3 impaired passengers get out safely before the whole van went up in flames. So, I mean, he is a real deal hero, saved some lives on that day. So they gave him a big shout out. Well deserved. Great job, Jay. I know you don't want it, but you did it. And what he has said, and he would want me to say, is that anybody else that was in that situation would have done the same thing. He's not anything special, but I know him, and he is. So shout out to Jay from NOLA. Great freaking job, brother. Great job, man. Great job. He's also a drummer, JR, and with a guy, Kendall Schaefer, here cool. Locally. Yeah. Y'all need to talk. We need to.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad
all of that.
I hope he didn't get hurt, and I hope the people that he saved got to get some medical attention quicker and safely, since he did that act of heroism there. That's awesome, man. Kudos to him. Big shot right there. That's awesome.
It was awesome. It was awesome. And then I got. I mean, I don't have the whole email. I'm not going to read the whole email, but there is a gentleman named Bryce with the Bubba Army sent us just an amazingly nice email about how much he loved the Hut Strickland show and that we did. And I mean, it was a great show. It really was. It really was.
Who else has talked to Hut for that long about that besides Dale Earnhardt Jr.? That's the only time.
That's it. Exactly. So he really enjoyed that. He did say that he wishes he could watch the video version, that he doesn't have the subscription service or whatever to Bubba. I just want to let everybody know right now, all of these shows that you are hearing here, if you're listening to this on the Bubba Army, you can go to our YouTube, Tigs Bits podcast, and watch the video versions of it. I know that they are dropping the video versions of these podcasts as well. From what I've seen, they're free. They're just on the free side, but I just wanted to mention that because he said that, and I'm like, maybe he doesn't realize that we have a YouTube channel and Facebook and all that stuff. And, you know, some folks just don't use YouTube too.
Right.
You never know where people consume your content. And it's interesting whenever you start to see, like, you see people, I call it in the wild. You talk to somebody in the wild, like, yeah, man, I was listening to your podcast on Pandora the other day.
Spotify or
podcast. I'm like, wait, I didn't even know it was on there.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I know.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I set it up like that 3 years ago. I never look at it. It just, when they drop, they drop, you know, but
yeah, everybody consumes differently. It really is strange that way. Well, even me, I watch a ton of stuff on YouTube, but I rarely watch podcasts on YouTube. I usually listen to podcasts.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, and I go back and forth. Like, I mean, I know you're listening to this, you don't care, but like how we are right now, we're live. Yeah. We have to do it this way with the split screens, but I've kind of gone back to where it's just whoever's talking, the screen has just that. I kind of like that. I think it's presented better. I just think it looks better than the way we look right now.
Right. It's more like,
and it's honestly, it's easier to do.
Yeah.
It's easier to do it that way.
And it gives you a break, you know, like in between, if you got to pick your nose or, smoke a cig, whatever you get, or get a drag or whatever, you do that while if you know the other guy's going on a good story there, you know.
You're able to tighten the edit a little bit better without it looking jumpy. Yeah. Now it's hard when you're one person, unless you have a picture or you're, but still, whatever.
I love it. So I can hit my nicotine vape if I know somebody else is talking, not get busted, because I hate holding it all the time. But I ain't no way I'm going 2 hours. I told somebody I can't quit everything, man. I quit some cigs a while back. I just quit drinking. I'm like, man, I'll quit this too. But we're working on one thing at a time here.
That's it. That's all we can do. Just get better.
Nicotine's a killer, and I don't want to go to the pouches, the Zens, or anything like that, because I know that'll just be another expensive habit.
Exactly.
Because I like cigars, but I don't. I'll smoke a $10 cigar or a good cigar or whatever, and then I'll still go back to smoking my crappy vape thing again, my menthol vape thing. So it's like I really you wish I could just do one, you know what I mean? But I can't do one because or I could just go back to smoking cigs and I could do one, but I don't think you should do that.
No, I don't want to do that. No, you've come so far. You don't want to regress.
I don't want to smell like it. I don't want to taste it in my mouth. I used to love it, or I guess tolerate it, thought I loved it. Now it's like, no way.
Can't stand the smell of it now, can you?
No,
no.
Yeah. But it's just one of those things. But I think there's going to be all kinds of cool stuff coming out of the retooling of this show and me adding a new show and all that stuff. It's just going to be fun, and I hope everybody listening and watching enjoys the ride as much as we do, because we're going to have guests for different shows, and we're still going to be involved with stuff.
Yes, we haven't even hit our stride yet. Honestly, this is the first time JR and I've got together since the last show y'all saw. So we haven't really we haven't been in our groove yet of kind of, getting there. I think it's going to take us a month or so of getting wound back up, and then just like boom, 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 here it comes. So, and that's going to happen. I ain't worried about that. But here's a little something that's happened since we did our last show, man, which I think it was earlier this week, but something we definitely got to talk about because I have a thought. It's official. Lee Corso is hanging up the headgear, man, after nearly 40 years on ESPN's College Game Day. He is going to retire, and they say his final episode will be on August 30th, which kicks off the 2025 season. So one last time we'll get to see him. Not so fast, my friend. I hope that he makes it. I'm not being rude or anything.
Well,
he's 90 years old, bro.
I know that's the thing. You want him to be able to just go relax and enjoy his time with his family and stuff, not have to make those commitments and stuff. I know that's just, you got to have purpose in life to want to keep going, but I'm sure his family's going to enjoy having him around, and hopefully he's in good health now and makes it and hopefully he picks Alabama to win the game, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Do we know what game it'll be? Will be his final game?
They don't know yet. Now I know LSU and Clemson play that day. I think Ohio State and maybe Texas. I haven't looked at a football schedule yet, but I think Ohio State and somebody big were playing there, which is probably, since Ohio State won the championship, most likely where game day is going to go. I would think. But I mean, the LSU Clemson game is going to be that's a big game on August 30th too. But I don't think it's game day worthy. So I figure he'll go to the Horseshoe and do it. But man, there's going to be a lot of big tributes come from it. I love how Herbie's kind of taking him under his wing, kind of, for lack of a better term, taking care of him. He just makes sure that he doesn't look bad. Kind of like a handler, kind of like what you do in a sense.
It's like a young wrestler and an old, an aging wrestler. You got to take care of each other and make the show pop and look good, and want to make everybody get everybody over.
For sure. Well, speaking of over, have you had a chance to catch up on WrestleMania?
Well, I'm gonna need a deeper dive. I got a text from DDP last week, reminding me to watch the Hall of Fame because he was going to go first with Lex Luger. So I didn't get to catch it. I was off with the family, but I did go back and watch that, and I thought it was great. Dallas looks like $1 million. Luger got to take a few steps to the podium, and this guy was in such bad shape. So anybody who's not familiar with all that going down, go to DDPY or go DDP on YouTube or any of those, Lex Luger DDP. Just Google it. Diamond Dallas Page is helping Lex Luger get his health back under control. He had was it a car accident? How he hurt himself?
I don't remember exactly. I watched.
I need to watch the story.
Yeah, I watched it, but I forgot.
Yeah, same. But Lex Luger was, a super body guy and just was total package, like his moniker suggested. And he's, hard times in his body. He's had some bad injuries, and but Dallas is helping him get back, and it was awesome to see him up there in his speech in Dallas. And then that's really all I've seen. I'm going to do some more. It won't be relevant anymore by the time we do another show. But I did watch a few of the highlights from the actual show. And the main one everybody's talking about is Stone Cold Steve Austin wrecking his four-wheeler and knocking a lady down. And everybody wondering if they're going to get sued or not.
Yeah. Dude, well, first of all, there's fan cameras. The glass breaks. The music hits. And I'm like, oh, shit, here we go. But the main event hadn't even started. And I'm like, well, this is ruling Stone Cold out right now from the main event, like being a sneak surprise. He was already there, though, in Vegas. Makes sense. So they work him in. And he comes out on the four-wheeler, but he missed the ramp. He just went straight into like a wall and didn't go up there. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know. I don't know if he thought maybe it curved around. I don't know, but he had to go up the ramp. So they had to back him up. The music's playing, and then finally he comes out late and he hauls ass down that's a long catwalk.
Yeah.
Going down to the ring and then driving around, and then bam, runs into the damn LED board. And
I wonder
this lady
if he was
just flew back.
Yeah, knocked her back down, and then he's like, "Are you good?" And he went and got in the ring. And I'm just wondering, like, was he trying to hook slide it, or was he just anxious because he knew he was running late?
I don't know. I would love to know. I would absolutely love to know.
I doubt I could get an answer on that.
No, you're never going to get an answer. But you would be the only one on this show who would have a shot. And I doubt he would ever tell the true answer. Maybe he'd had a couple of them beers back there. He had several in the ring after that, which he didn't get back. I saw him look at the four-wheeler, and he thought in his mind, I better not do that. I wasn't drinking, or at least wasn't seen drinking. I doubt he was drinking before he hit the four-wheeler. He definitely was drinking in the ring. And he looked at the four-wheeler, and then he kind of just walked. He walked out. I was like,
Attitude Era, he'd have drove the four-wheeler.
Oh, for sure he would have. But like, nah, dude, you after that incident, you better not get back on that four-wheeler, bro. Yeah. And he didn't.
That was probably.
I think it's a
move.
big bunch of nothing. Honestly, hopefully that lady doesn't sue him. I mean, it's what a society that we live in. But those people paid like $5,000 a piece for those tickets. That's what I saw today or yesterday, how expensive WrestleMania was. I mean, I get it, front row, but like you could go to the Superdome 4 or 5 years ago, whenever they had that one, whenever it was in New Orleans, and you could get upper deck tickets for like $25 or whatever, right. Which I don't want to be in the upper deck at WrestleMania in the Superdome. I'd just rather watch it on TV at this point in time, honestly, because you can see so much more. But
unless I'm in that club level. That club level's where it's at
club levels where it's at. Oh yes, sure.
Yeah, y'all want the life hack when you go into something, just pay up and get to club level. You have an upgraded, at least in New Orleans, but most places I've ever been, for the money, it upgrades you bathroom and concessions, and is worth every penny. You get a little more space, a little more cush. If you can't afford it, I get it. I've done it. I've been to the Dome in the top. I was there actually for the Rams game when everybody threw all the shit on the field. I was there for that. Me and my buddy Hal Laird, Murph's dad, were in the 300 and whatevers over in a corner watching that game. Yeah, we saw grown men fight, and I saw 2 Saints and 2 Rams, big two of each, big guys fighting in the hallway there thing. And I remember Hal was just like mesmerized, walking towards him, and I grabbed him like, no, that ain't our fight. He pulled him away. These 2 big grown, and because we're like, barely 21.
Are you talking about the NOLA no call game? The passing,
the Rams game,
the NFC championship.
No, this wasn't NFC. This was way before. This was 1999.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Something
remember
had
that
just
too.
happened on a Sunday night.
The greatest show on turf. Guys.
Yeah, something on Sunday night happened, and they threw stuff on the field. Well, this was a Monday night game, and Saints, they gave these things, and everybody threw paper airplanes and threw stuff on the field. And it was rowdy, but I remember that fight, those 4 guys fighting, and Hal, like, just being, like, charmed into getting close to the brawl of all this chaos.
And
I'm like, no. And these guys were huge, and we were just young, little skinny punks, like not even out of college yet, like barely still in college, kind of out of college deal. So I've been there too, and it's worth it to go at any capacity. And I've had good seats and give them up to take other ones, and got moved, and you just have to deal with it sometimes.
Yep.
But if you can, club level is usually where it's at. Even for me, it's even better than sideline, front row, any of that, just because, unless it's a suite, now a box or a suite, and even then,
right.
You're
a little disconnected in a suite.
Yeah, and it depends on who you're suite with. If you go as a guest to somebody, you don't really know, you feel awkward, like you're at somebody's house and you don't know anybody.
You got to behave.
Or
you can't be yourself.
Or it just, there's different situations. But if it's just you and your partner going, or a small family or something, shit, get them club level, baby, going and get that upgraded little experience. Have that little extra bathroom. Worth it.
I agree 100%, and especially at concerts. When you're in an arena and you get club, like, it's a complete game changer. Number one, you can see better. It's almost like the sound and everything's meant to be directed there. That's the center of the sound and the visuals and everything. So I mean, it's worth the upgrade. Totally.
Yep. I remember UNO Lakefront watching Pearl Jam about that same year, about 99. And we were right off the floor, like first or second row off the floor in the back of the arena. So you're like level with the stage. It was so awesome.
Hell yeah.
Well, the other big event from WrestleMania I saw was John Cena and his hair plugs and his explanations with the fans and why he's got plugs and all this. I'm like, guys, this is something else if this is all we're talking about. So apparently he wrestled Cody Rhodes and went over. He beat Cody?
He beat Cody with a little help from, Travis Scott. Fiend. I've gotten tired of hearing that song. Whatever. I mean, I get it. That's what keeps the younger folks in there and all that. That's so you got to keep doing that. I have no problem with it. But what was the travesty to me and everybody else is that there was no final boss. There was no Rock. the guy who was going to take Cody Rhodes' soul. He wanted him to sell his soul. And then John Cena turns on him, kicks Cody in the nuts, and does all that. And he's one of the final bosses puppets. Guy, one of the Rock's puppets. And then no Rock. Just Travis Scott to come out, who had beat Cody Rhodes up in a post one of the pay-per-views, I think Elimination Chamber, maybe in the ring afterwards. Accidentally, I think actually
he
hit
hurt
him in the face.
Yeah.
It hurt his ear. That was it. Hurt his ear.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to, but whatever. He was, he's not a wrestler. And so why they only brought him into the storyline, he had a little minor, he just was a distraction. And then that's how Cody Rhodes, who had not lost anything, had the belt for a year, untouchable,
in a long time.
In a long time, and then he loses because of that distraction. I just found it to be like, I mean, it wasn't even when he kicked. I thought he was going to kick out at the very last second. Like, this match ain't over, dude. And it started at like 9:05, 9:10 p.m. and it was over at like 9:36. I mean, it wasn't even that long of a match. And that match, like the night one, was Seth Rollins and CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Phenomenal match. It was the best match of all of WrestleMania as far as I'm concerned. Phenomenal match. They put their bodies on the line. They wrestled for dang near an hour, if not a little over. And you just left like, woo, I can't wait to see what they do tomorrow night. Yeah. And then, boom. I mean, like the whole show was a dud.
All you would have really needed was The Rock to come out there at the end and either do the double turn or just come out there and just put the icing on the cake with him doing some kind of sly move to do a distraction or something.
Exactly. Exactly.
But with no Rock, I bet it did feel unleft. And I wonder what why he didn't, especially if he was in the promos leading up to it.
No freaking idea, man. No idea. And well, he went on Pat McAfee earlier this week and said that final arc was there at the Elimination Chamber. It's like, what do you mean? That isn't, nobody else thought that was the final arc. Now, he could be playing the long game. He could be setting it up like he's gone, and then he's going to come back. It's all turned now. John Cena and
Cena.
Yeah, Randy Orton, and it's going to be Randy Orton and Cena are already. That happened on Raw this past Monday. That's going to be the next thing. We didn't hear from Cody on Raw Monday. Raw was 50 times better than night 2 of WrestleMania to me because it set everything up for Monday Raw after Mania is always kind of the setup for the next year with the stories. They do more talking and stuff. Laid a lot out. Like, it's going to be fun. Becky Lynch turned heel after coming out on Sunday. That was a big surprise.
That's awesome.
Kind of, she's back, but now she turned
heel. The last
heel.
kicker. I'm a big fan of hers, buddy. She's good.
I love her. Oh yeah.
The last kicker.
She's dang good, dude.
Yeah.
Dang good. But yeah, some folks disagree. I think Big E, I know when I was live tweeting, I was pissed. I don't know why. I had my neighbors come over. We blew it up on a big projector outside. We're all hanging out. They are not wrestling fans, but they came last year and they saw 40 and knew how they all loved it. But this year, just all of them.
Wow.
Unanimous. That was a dud. Had fun hanging out, but that sucked. Like, that did suck.
And it was in Vegas. They broke attendance numbers. They broke box office records. They made more money than they ever have, and it sucked more than it ever has.
Yeah. Disappointed, to say the least.
But sounds very gimmicky, and that's the thing too. I mean, them keep having to regurgitate these older wrestlers. I just don't remember in the heyday, and maybe I'm wrong, in the heyday of, say, the early teen WrestleManias, them having to bring back people. I guess they're just not out of their prime. I guess people wrestled longer then, because normally like a Cena and a Rock wouldn't be out of the business completely and then have to come back,
Right. Yeah.
I guess.
I don't know what they're going to do, where they're going to go, but I'm looking forward to Randy Orton. I love Randy Orton. I love his finishing move. I love the RKO, which is just the diamond cutter and kind of part of the Stone Cold Stunner in a sense, except Stone Cold would kick you and then turn around. But, similar move. I just love that wrestling move when somebody goes behind their neck and slams somebody. I just think it looks cool.
And, Dallas says it, and I don't know which one's which now, but on there's a difference. And I think the RKO, he just grabs the neck, interlocks fingers top on top. But when Dallas does the cutter, he uses a cravat where he interlocks his hands finger over finger, because that way you can control. Because that way you can control more. It's more of a shoot move. And I think the RKO is just interlocking on top or a pull from top. There is a slight variation there. I think it's with the hands, I think.
Next time we get DDP on, that's a question we need. I'm sure it's been asked, but I would like to know.
Yeah, any fans or listeners out there that know, that may already know this, because I'm sure someone's talked about it on a podcast or something, and I probably have seen it. But if anybody knows what the differences are in the cutter, the diamond cutter, the Stone Cold Stunner, and the RKO are, let us know. There's got to be a wrestling fan that knows a better breakdown than me, because I know generally they're different, but
yes, for sure, but still in a
similar, very similar.
But very similar. I love the flying RKO, but I also always loved it when DDP did the flying diamond cutter. Yes. He didn't do it as often. He's a little bit older, and he was keeping his body in check. But it's just a hell of a move, and it comes out of nowhere. And that's how he got Cena the other night. He rolled out from under the ring, snuck in while Cena was talking trash to the crowd or whatever, and then the Viper struck. So good.
Yeah, Randy's got a great look and a great gimmick, and he's a legacy wrestler. I'm always been a big fan of his.
Big fan, man. Big fan. I'm not a big fan of this, JR. I know that you probably caught it, and it's probably a little bit out of the cycle of things, but we hadn't had a take on it. That Blue Origin flight. What did you think about that with all Lauren Sanchez and Katy Perry and
I don't think they really went.
Gail King. You don't? Okay.
Do you think they went to space and back and just didn't know? I didn't really hear a lot about it. Just kind of came and went. And you think these celebrities will really just go off in space the first time? I don't.
Man, it's hard. It's hard to believe. Now, I've done some research because
I didn't do any research. This is just topical. I saw a little bit of it when it happened a little while back, and I heard some commotion about it, and I just thought, that seems weird. There was a little build up, and then these celebrities just go off as the guinea pigs on this trip that doesn't sound too safe. No. And they just come back and everything's hunky dory. There's no decompress. There's no big story about it really. There's no,
Yeah, they go up. The odd thing to me, which there's no shot of them going up in the rocket, like in the cabin riding the rocket.
Yeah, wouldn't we have all kinds of footage of Katy Perry? They're paparazzi every time she goes to get a taco, but we can't get we don't have.
We can't get a camera inside. Yes, and it was
picture
there.
From a bridge near there or somewhere of them taking off.
I mean, and look, if you're afraid of, if you don't want that image, you're not going to look your best in that moment because you don't have a ton of makeup on, which they all did. But you don't have a ton of makeup on, or your hair isn't done just right, which they all looked like they had not flown up in a rocket.
Exactly.
They still went up on a rocket, allegedly.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they faked the capsule landing, if they did. And I don't consider that they actually went to space. They didn't exit Earth's orbit. That's why the thing allegedly wasn't all charred and everything, is because it didn't actually go out of Earth's atmosphere and have a burn in coming.
They just went way up. They just went way up in the sky. They didn't necessarily
about as high as you can go, allegedly, about as high as you can go in the sky, and then they came back down. But the look on their face when they all got out and their interviews, like, you would think that somebody would be so dang excited that, man, you're not going to believe this. I rode on a rocket. And they're all just
exhilarated.
This was a great thing for little girls everywhere to see. And like, you just rode a rocket, and for the first time ever, all of you in your life, and all of you have the same reaction of just like, That was so awesome, and that was so great. And then the images of them floating around and whatnot, that easily could be done in the Vomit Comet in that airplane that goes up to 60,000 feet or whatever, and then falls down, so that the astronauts use actual astronauts, not astronauts. Those people are not an astronaut. What a disgrace to even think you should be considered or called an astronaut, of all these people who've trained thousands and thousands of hours, and the commitment and
people who've sacrificed and passed away, but trying to make sure this stuff was all working and, reliable and stuff.
And they're offended by that. You're a damn traveler. You just took that's you're a tourist, whatever. I mean, you paid for it, allegedly. I mean, if they paid for that for publicity, and they actually,
I wonder if they gave them all. I wonder if that was part of it. It was just some weird cult thing, and they all end up in there. And then they took a bunch of Valium and stuff, and then when they got back, they were just all like, "Yeah, it was great." That was probably some kind of weird alien transaction.
Dude, you just can't tell me that. No offense, ladies, listen to this, but you put 5 or 6 women, however many there were, in a cabin together, an 11-minute ride, riding a rocket. And their reaction is that ho-hum. Yeah. Especially Katy Perry. Especially Katy Perry. I mean, she kissed the ground and all that, and just like, you were gone. You weren't even gone. You were still on Earth. You just went up in the sky and came back down in 11 minutes, if you really did that. Allegedly.
Seems too fast to go to space anyway.
Right? It's just like, but I mean, William Shatner and them did that, but there was a lot more camera footage of that one from inside the cabin. It's like, why won't you show us all of this? It's cool. If you're like, y'all are dumbasses, we really did this, you morons. Why are you? Let me show you. Here they are launching. Here they are, and that I've not seen any of that. So
and you'd think they'd want that documented, that footage to use for some kind of PR or some kind of just internal something.
You just don't ride a rocket every day, man. You just don't ride a rocket every single day. And I know for a fact none of them ever have. So it doesn't make any sense. I know that I would be a hell of a lot different had I just come from a rocket ride. No doubt.
Yeah, at least one person would be like, and like, I can't believe I did that. Not, something, especially since they weren't trained prior to. There's no way.
And I got one last little thing we can hit on. This is current. This happened. It's trending as we speak. RFK Jr. has a food dye ban. So. Red dye 40 and yellow 5, they're artificial colors, of course, that make your snacks look fun, make the colors pop and all of that. But some studies suggest that those may cause cancer or may cause issues, especially in kids. So RFK Jr. wants them out of here in a couple of years, which could mean more natural colors in our food. So it's kind of a step towards healthier eating. I think that's something that we can all get behind.
I've been saying that for years. I tell people when they're eating Doritos, I'm like, and Cheetos and different things, I was like, they have these or certain things they just don't sell other places because it's got too much of that in there. And I've made those comments to people, and people think I'm crazy for over a decade now. And a lot of people that I know have been, and people, and I'm telling you, it's not good. Why are everybody but us banning it? It can't be that good. And if you think
all the
people that are on their up and up on the up and up trying to look out for us, you're just being naive, because that's not. It's just not reality.
No, it's not. He's going to war on sugar too, which is another problem. I mean, these are issues. I tell you, watching my son and my daughter, both of them, you don't have a lot of choices when you have kids. You got a lot of choices, but things that the kids like goldfish. And I think any parent that's out there listening to this can relate to that. Like, you're going to tell your child no on goldfish? Well, you should. Honestly, you should. The baked ones, it doesn't matter. It all has yellow number 5 in it. Plain as day. And not good for you, but.
And then all the drinks, every drink you got's got 30, 40 grams of sugar. And, a gram, every 4 grams is a teaspoon. So you're thinking about 15 teaspoons of sugar in a thing of Gatorade or a Coke, 1 can of Coke. You're like, that's just that can't be right. There's no way you need that much. And then random things that have sugar in it. You're like, why is there sugar in this? Why is there corn syrup in this? It's just
exactly.
So I'm glad. I'm all for it. There's no reason we shouldn't. It's as simple to me, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, or if you're just in the middle like me, that two things right off the top of my head here: finding bad mismanagement of our taxpayers' money, the money that everybody out here listening and watching works hard, and give our little share to the government to do the things that we as a society need to be moving forward in a civilized way. We don't have checks and balances on that. Who's against that? Okay. Who's against that? No one should be against that. Secondly, we spend more money than anybody, and we are not healthy. We just continually getting worse. We all know that anybody with any age on, since you've been around, it's gotten worse. There's so many chronic diseases and obesity and all these things and all these problems. And we spend so much money, and healthcare is so expensive, and insurance is so expensive. We know we need to do better. So who's fighting this that we ought not do something? If anybody thinks what we've been doing is working, we don't need your vote because you're obviously cuckoo. You know what I'm saying? Because it hasn't been working. We're going down, and we spend a ton of money, and it's just impossible. It's all like you're saying. It's almost impossible to get away from it.
It is.
It's too many bad options.
Just too many bad options. You can't avoid it. And if you do, you can't afford to live that way. Honestly, I mean, most Americans can't afford to eat the healthier stuff. It costs twice as much, which is just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous that the good stuff costs twice. It shouldn't be that way. Right. So I'm excited to see what happens.
So bad and cheap. It's made with bad stuff.
That's right. Well, that's all I've got, JR. You got anything to wrap us up?
No, that was a good one. Boy, I could get wound up on that. That's got a lot of bite to it there, and then I'm sure we'll talk about more of that stuff as the next few months go along. Yeah. We've got all this wild trade tariff stuff happening, and I've been a little slack on listening to any exterior podcast. I listened to a little Bubba Uncensored from this past week and a few others, but I haven't really got to dive into a lot. I did see today that Joe Rogan had Joey Diaz on as his guest today.
I've listened to about 15 minutes of it whenever I was going to get Riley. I'll listen to more of it. I'll listen to Joe Rogan it'll take me 4 or 5 days to finally. Yeah. But I love Coco. I love old Joey.
I love Uncle because I listen to his normal podcast, pretty regularly. At least it's once a week. I try to get it in. But I'll listen to that Rogue tomorrow. I've got to go to the airport and fly out, so I'll be listening to that tomorrow for sure. I'm excited about that. It was good to chop it up for a little while. I'm glad everybody tuned in. I hope to see and talk with everyone again here real soon. Y'all send us any questions and comments you have for the show. tigsbitspodcast.com, all that good stuff. Check us out, send us pictures, send us comments, questions, anything you think would have. Send us some guest options if you think of somebody that you think would be fun for us to have on as a guest. We'll start working on some of that, but we're going to keep chopping wood and churning out these shows. And like we mentioned earlier, my new podcast, the JR the Handler Show, you can check that out. It's out on all platforms. Give it a listen too.
Of course, everybody, you can go and Thursday nights, I go live. That's kind of the plan. Tigs tonight on YouTube, Facebook, and it's on X or Twitter. So you can go watch that live, come and interact. We have a lot of folks with the Bubba Army that stops by, chats, blazes it up with us, has fun. And it's more of the mind of Tigs, which can be scary. And I don't know what I'm going to do on those nights. I have an outline, but I don't know what I'm going to say. And then I don't have somebody to stop me like JR. And I can just kind of talk myself on down into a rabbit hole real quick.
Yes. Thanks for supporting this show and all the content we put out and supporting the Bubba Army, man. Give all those guys and gals over there some love. Seth, Lummy, Big Bubba himself too. They do a lot of stuff to keep all that going and rocking, and we appreciate.
I think today was his birthday.
I think it was. I saw a picture of a cake or something that somebody made with his face on it.
Happy birthday, Bubba. Happy birthday.
Yeah, we love you, big fella. You're the
Hell
champ
yeah.
in our world, Bubba. We love you, crazy bastard. See y'all next week.